It looks pretty different here compared to last time. The colors are gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Look at that. Hot on my heels. You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul ahead of you.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets to be so smug!
I understand that prisoners have to put up with harassment from the guards, but right now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
Sounds like a successful rendezvous. I need to be quite clear about something. In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru. Unlike anywhere else, Irminsul's inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information. You must put aside your differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. This is as much for your own safety as anything else.
Fine, let's call it truce, but only until this mission's over.
Let's cut each other a little slack, shall we? We are going to be traveling together after all. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front. It's my job to lead the way and get rid of any obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
You sure are confident. Paimon will give you that. You make it sound like you're even more experienced at adventuring than us.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Ew! Ugh, the snark on this guy! It's unbearable!
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure.
Is this a small sapling? Oh, darn it! Come on, let's catch up with him! Wow! So this is the inside of Irminsul. Ooh! Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it feels like a sacred place.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Tevat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Lesser Lord Kusanali, we will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go. Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so... say we did go running off in here. What would happen? What are you smirking at?
I was just imagining the look on your travel companion's face if you went and got lost. Anything's possible in here. You can't rule anything out. So if you want to stay safe, your best option is to stick close to me.
These sapling things have spread out.
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
in every direction! No wonder he mentioned about getting lost. Huh. What do you know? He was actually telling the truth. Is he mocking me again? What is it this time?
There's a time and a place to lie, but this definitely isn't it. So why don't you relax your guard a little? We're here.
What a huge tree!
Lesser Lord Kusanali.
Good, you made it. Are you ready?
Ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
The Balladier's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Huh. For once, we're the ones with nothing to do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk? Yes, I've also invited Paimon to join.
Huh? What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
That's part of it. Plus, we're all friends. There's nothing wrong with us talking like this once in a while.
Paimon's never tried this before. This is great! So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladier's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Things that are clear as day to me, but that he has yet to understand. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers. Well done. Smart and attentive as always. So, you made contact with that part of his mind. Well, it's true. Betrayal turned the Balladier into the person he is today.
Huh. Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, he can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Everyone has a history, Paimon. Even if you're a puppet created by the Electro Archon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabuki Mono and so on, yes. I know about all of that.
Really? Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
Oh? How interesting. Those two managed to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
So the Gesse got it right?
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatarasuna was sabotaged.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
What makes you think we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said conversation. Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So, have you found anything yet?
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Wait, how did you know about that? Did Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you. Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself, and making cordial conversation is something I can manage. Huh? Wait.
This light, it looks similar to those saplings. What could it be?
Anonymous data.
Hey, don't you forget the agreement! You have to share it with us!
Shh. Just wait.
Mr. Niwa, are you certain this is worth the risk? We are talking about Tatara Suna's furnace, after all. It may not pay to act rashly.
There's no one else who can enter the furnace. It has to be me.
Is that so? Well, since you insist.
It's...
Whoa!
I have been in Tatara Suna for some time now. You have shown me great hospitality, as has Mikoshi Nagamasa, and indeed, everyone else. Under your leadership, Tatara Suna is a warm, welcoming place, like a giant village. People are gainfully employed, their lives have purpose. They are motivated. As I understand, the Raiden Shogun has, in recent years, eliminated much of the evil that plagued Inazuma. As for Tatara Suna, it was originally established as a means of safely disposing crystal marrow. The forging industry with crystal marrow as a raw material has since flourished, giving rise to generations of swordsmiths. Some world-renowned, others unknown, all passing on their legacy. Skills, blood, dreams. Every smith brought into this trade looks to find their purpose between steel and blade. That is why you accepted the proposal brought to you by myself and Akame.
Yes, well, were it not for you coming to Inazuma and happening to make Akame's acquaintance, the two of you never would have joined forces. And he would be the first to admit that there's no way he could have revolutionized our forging process like this on his own. At least not on the same timescale. You allowed Akame to take all the credit for a method that you jointly developed. He sold it to me, and now every piece of ore here is smelted using the new technique. Even now, you remain one of Tatara Suna's key consultants, working right here alongside us. I believe it is you, sir, who are truly responsible for the changes in our manufacturing and forging methods.
You flatter me. From the outset, I saw much that was commendable in the forging industry of Inazuma, and it has been my great honor to befriend you all.
So you say, Escher. But is this really the truth?
My good sir, what do you mean?
I tried to resist thinking it was all connected, because I didn't want to speculate, and I didn't want to believe that things could turn out this way. What have we gained from adopting your new technology? Ominous black smoke? Mounting production problems? Worker fatigue and casualties are up and continuing to rise at an alarming rate. And recently, as you well know, someone died because of that strange filth inside the furnace. We've kept the truth from spreading outside, but still, I suspect you understand it better than I do. None of the people who went out to get help have come back. Now, our mutual friend, the Kabuki Mono, is taking the Golden Feather to Narukami Island to seek an audience with Shogun. This is our last hope. But that doesn't faze you, does it, Escher? Nothing does. Otherwise, why would you still be standing there with that smile on your face?
I'm just surprised that you finally chose to be so sincere. I'm sure you've been harboring these suspicions for quite some time.
Mikoshi Nagamasa may have noticed that there was one common denominator among all these events. Namely you, Escher. But Mr. Mikoshi is more cautious than I. He does things by the book.
After all, Nagamasa is the adopted son of Mikoshi Torachiyo, the yokai struck down by the shogun's own hand. If he truly seeks to redeem his family's honor, an abundance of caution is well advised.
You're well informed on the subtleties of his situation for a mechanic all the way from Fontaine. Are you sure you're not a little overqualified?
Why, Mr. Niwa, are you suggesting I find a job as a diplomat? Sadly, I am so very attached to my craft.
Enough, Escher. I'm here because an evil force is raging inside the furnace. And someone needs to take your new device inside the high-risk zone so we can absorb it and put an end to the problem. I'm in charge here. And I'm about to take some responsibility and head inside. Probably to my death. But what about you? What are you still doing here?
Judging from the look in your eyes, you don't seem to trust me.
Drop the act! We're past that now. Whoever you are, it looks like your plan to destroy Tatara Suna has worked. I just want to know what you're still doing here. What's left? Don't you have all your answers by now?
Honestly, I'm just waiting for the right moment. A moment like this, where you finish talking and I stop you from entering the furnace.
You...
You're a little smarter than I initially gave you credit for. I thought I'd disguised myself exceptionally well, at least for the first few days. But to my surprise, you had your people look into my background right from the start. It's a long journey from Inazuma to Fontaine, but that didn't stop them. Eventually, they managed to confirm that Escher was an alias, and that I was not from Fontaine at all. And yet, despite all of that, you still fail to realize my true identity, and what I seek in Tatara Suna.
Did you really think you would be able to see through my plan?
If you kill me, there's no one who can get inside the furnace. So you're really going to destroy this place? Is that it?
Oh, but you're quite wrong. There is one other person. Some may not see him as a person, but you told him yourself. You're not a puppet. You're a human. You're just missing a heart.
Whoever you're working for won't get away with this. They'll be found out. But this makes no sense. What are you really trying to accomplish by all this? Why go to all this trouble?
It's no trouble at all. Patience is a virtue which I have in abundance. This is all part of a carefully controlled experiment. If you must know, I'm happy to divulge my true identity. I'm a Fatui Harbinger. Call me the Doctor.
The Fatui? Who? What do you want?
Just to create a minor inconvenience for your nation.
That's it? That's why you gave us your cursed technology? Just to let loose the evil energy from the crystal marrow?
Look how even the righteous soul is filled with venom when faced with its demise. My device functions precisely as you say. It is the only chance you have of preventing a catastrophe and keeping the truth from the outside world. However, I did not make it with you in mind. It is easier for a person to be possessed by evil spirits when they are filled with hate. So give in to your fury. I want to see what happens when a malevolent heart is placed into an unsuspecting puppet. Make no mistake, even without you, that pure, innocent puppet would only end up being used by someone else instead. What other reason would a human have for befriending one who is not of our kind?
If you give him my heart, tell him that both Nagamasa and I see him as one of us. He has nothing to prove to anyone. Because not everyone just wants to use other people. The only ones who think like that are people like you.
What a beautiful way to see the world. It almost makes me feel a little guilty. Then out of respect for you, I shall redefine myself. Think of me as a monster or a demon, if you wish. At least this way your death is not a consequence of your own folly turning you into an easy target. You simply lost to something more powerful than you could ever hope to defeat. I say, Mr. Niwa, let's see what happens. Will your puppet friend become a human? No, that will prove quite impossible. Mr. Niwa? Already dead. What a pity. Jester, I have completed the task you gave me, creating a gap and infiltrating Inazuma's inner workings. What fun it was. I'd like to introduce a puppet to you. If he proves useful, let's make him our newest comrade. And if not, let's turn him to dust.
Hey, are you alright?
Dottore? Dottore! Good. Good.
Was that the doctor? Did he turn into a mechanic from Fontaine? But why did we see things from his perspective?
When I touched the doctor to confirm whether he'd eliminated all his segments, I read this memory in his mind. You have to admit, it must be the truth.
Maybe so, but it means nothing.
Does it? But this memory shows that Niwa didn't betray you. He never meant for you to be the one to take the device into the furnace. You know very well what that means. Even more so than I.
Let's give him some space. He looks really mad. Paimon doesn't want to be anywhere near him right now.
We need to give him some time to process his emotions.
Paimon's still confused about the Tatarasuna incident. So, the doctor was behind it, but why has that gotten him so worked up?
Nobody has ever deceived you like that, Paimon. It's natural that you find it difficult to understand. Perhaps he needed to learn this someday. So now you have the complete picture. Katsuragi took the kabuki mono to live with the people of Tatarasuna. Later, the doctor showed up, disguised as the mechanic from Fontaine. And that's when the trouble began. It was all a horrific experiment planned by the doctor. Everything he did was just to plant seeds of disaster in Inazuma that would bear fruit in the future. Of all the unwitting participants in the doctor's experiment, the balladeer became the main test subject. After the events you just saw in that memory, the doctor put Niwa's heart into the device and handed it to the balladeer. Then, he instructed him to enter the furnace and absorb all the filth caused by the smelting process. The load was far beyond what he expected, but the balladeer survived. He left the furnace in sheer exhaustion and said to the mechanic, "This device seems to have protected me. What's in it?" The mechanic answered, "Niwa fled this place for fear of punishment, but he left you a gift. He said it's the one thing that you've been looking for." He took it straight from the chest of one of his innocent servants. The mechanic removed the withered heart from the device as he spoke. The balladeer was stunned that such unthinkable cruelty had brought him the thing he'd been longing for his entire life. A heart acquired through cold-blooded murder is a cursed thing, but it had protected him from the filth. He thought Niwa had completely betrayed him, and yet this very betrayal had ensured his survival. Overwhelmed with anger and sorrow, the balladeer threw the heart to the ground and left Tatarasuna without looking back.
Holy moly. So the doctor killed an innocent man and pinned everything on the victim? That's terrible.
Yes. Only if he understands this can he choose a new path forward.
Dotori, you brazen-faced... Niwa didn't run from justice. You killed him.